what if we could totally shake up the way we discover new medicines? I mean, take a process that's notoriously slow, incredibly expensive, and honestly fails most of the time, and just flip it on its head. Make it fast, efficient, and way more reliable. Well, that's what we're digging into today, a new AI system that's trying to do exactly that.
To really get what a game changer this is, you have to understand the problem we're starting with. Right now, this is how long it takes, on average, to get a single new drug from a lab bench into your hands. A decade, maybe even 15 years. Just think about that.
And the cost? Oh, it's just wild. $2.6 billion. That's the average price tag to develop just one of those drugs over that 10 or 15-year slog.
But here's the number that really gets me. This is the killer. After all that time, after spending billions of dollars, there's a 90% chance that drug is going to fail in clinical trials. 9 times out of 10, it just doesn't work out.
So when you put all those numbers together, what do they really tell you? They paint a picture of this massive bottleneck holding back medical progress. This is medicine's billion-dollar problem, and it's at the very heart of how we find new cures.
And look, this system isn't broken for a lack of trying or a lack of money. We're throwing $200 billion a year at R&D, but the process itself is just so inefficient. I mean, 70% of studies can't even be replicated, and analyzing the data from just one study can take a scientist up to a whole year. All of this leads to these catastrophic losses when a drug fails really late in the game. It's just not sustainable. Okay, so if the problem is a slow, manual, and unreliable process, well, the solution has to be the exact opposite, right? That is where this AI-powered discovery engine comes in. Let's meet the Hypothesis Acceleration System, or HAS. So what is HAS? Okay, the best way to think about it is like a team of super smart AI scientists working together 24/7. They autonomously dive into these huge mountains of biological data to find something called biomarkers. And biomarkers are everything. They're the tiny biological signals that can predict who's going to get sick and, crucially, which drugs are actually going to work for them.
And when you put the old way next to the HAS platform, the difference is it's insane. What used to take a human researcher up to a year now takes this system 15 minutes. A process that costs thousands of dollars per sample is now down to just a few hundred. And maybe most importantly, accuracy jumps from, let's be honest, a C or B- average all the way up to a 95% A+. It's a total game changer.
So what does all that actually add up to? Well, when you combine that incredible speed, the cost savings, and that leap in accuracy, you get a 3.2 times acceleration in the entire drug discovery timeline. That 10 to 15-year window we started with, it just got a whole lot smaller.
But breakthrough science is one thing. Turning it into a real tool that everyone in the industry can actually use, that's a whole other challenge. So how does this incredible technology actually become a sustainable business?
Well, for starters, the market for something like this is just enormous. We're not just talking about that $200 billion pharma R&D space. Nope. This kind of tool is absolutely critical for companies developing new diagnostic tests and for all the university labs doing that foundational early-stage research. The demand is literally everywhere. And the business model itself is a classic. It's a software as a service, or SaaS platform. They offer different tiers, which is really smart. It makes it accessible for a university lab running on a grant, for a scrappy biotech startup, and of course for the giant global pharma companies that need all the power they can get.
Of course, any great idea is going to attract competition. So you've got to ask the key question. What makes this platform defensible? What's its moat? What stops somebody else from just coming along and copying it?
Well, the advantage is really baked into its incredibly deep 46-step process. See, it's not just one clever algorithm. It starts by pulling in and cleaning up messy data from over 50 different sources. Then it discovers those key gene signals. And this next part is crucial. It actually validates its own findings using AI and CRISPR modeling to make sure it's on the right track. Only then, at the very end, does the final AI layer put it all together to generate a real, testable hypothesis.
And all of that builds some seriously powerful competitive advantages. The core AI has a 5-year head start on anyone else. The whole thing is built to meet strict regulatory standards with a perfect audit trail. It's protected by more than 15 patents. And here's the best part. It has a network effect. The more data it analyzes, the smarter the whole system gets.
Okay, so we've got the tech, the business model, the competitive moat, but let's bring this all back to what really truly matters, the real-world impact, the effect this has on patients and on finding those cures.
And this is where it gets just so powerful. For rare diseases, you could run clinical trials with half as many patients. That is a huge deal. In cancer research, it could increase the success rate of clinical trials by 40%. For new diagnostics, it could boost the approval rate from 60 all the way up to 90%. These are not just numbers on a chart. This is about giving real hope to real people.
Someone called it the Bloomberg terminal of biomarker discovery, and I think that just nails it. For decades, if you worked in finance, you had to have a Bloomberg terminal. It was the essential, non-negotiable tool. The vision here is for Has Bionics to become that exact same thing for every single person and company trying to develop a new drug.
And that's really the heart of it, right? The efficiency, the cost savings, those things are incredible, but they're a means to an end. The real goal here is to find cures that are currently out of our reach and to get them to the people who need them faster than we ever thought possible. It's a profound shift for medicine, for sure, but it leaves you with this bigger thought. We've just seen how AI can take a 15-year process and just crush it into a fraction of the time. It really makes you wonder, what other massive, world-changing problem is AI going to accelerate next?